The markets may be closed, but business stories are just heating up. I'm Robert Tan. Catch up with us on Business Brief. Here's what's making waves today. IMF slashes PH growth forecast for 2025 and 2026. Markets and investors alert. Philippine remittances hit $3 billion in October, but the growth pace is slowing. ICI wraps up its final 2025 flood control hearing. Billion-peso projects under the microscope. DOT teams up with private partners to give Cebu tourism a lift, discounts on flights and hotels for visitors. DPWH Bulacan 1st District gets new executives as the infra push moves forward. The International Monetary Fund cuts the country's growth forecast for 2025, signaling slower momentum for the economy. The IMF now expects growth to average 5.1%, down from 5.4% projected in October. That's well below the government's already trimmed target range of 5.5 to 6.5% for next year. The fund also lowers its 2026 forecast slightly to 5.6% from 5.7%. It says rising tariffs are weighing on exports and investment, slowing growth more than anticipated. Growth is expected to pick up moderately to 5.6% in 2026, but that's a downward revision following a sharper than expected slowdown in the third quarter of 2025. Filipino cash remittances continue to climb, hitting $3.17 billion in October. Data from the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas shows this is 3% higher than last year's $3.08 billion for the same month. It's also slightly above September 3's $3.12 billion, though the pace of growth has slowed from September's 3.7% increase. The BSP reports the United States remains the top source of remittances for January to October 2025, followed by Singapore and Saudi Arabia. The year ends with questions and no answers. The Independent Commission for Infrastructure, or ICI, holds its final hearing on the 2025 flood control scandal. AGA Party List Representative Nicanor Briones and Acting Budget Secretary Rolando Toledo are summoned. Briones pulls out of the public hearing, citing potential reputation harm.
He has no way of controlling how the public will misinterpret or misconstrue the highly sensitive personal information that he may convey to the Honorable Commission during this proceeding.
The ICI grants an executive session and Briones testifies behind closed doors. As of 3 p.m., Toledo agrees to live stream his session. As 2025 closes, the scandal looms. Businesses and investors are waiting. Government action remains uncertain. Cebu tourism is making a comeback with government and private sector teaming up. This move aims to revive local businesses and jobs hit hard by this year's natural disasters. The Department of Tourism partners with Cebu Pacific and the Hotel, Resort and Restaurant Association of Cebu Incorporated. DOT Secretary Cristina Frasco says the initiative will revitalize tourism activities like diving and boost the local business sector. Foreign visitors can now access discounted flights, hotel vouchers, and promotional packages. HRR ACI President Mia Leon says member establishments will provide vouchers and special accommodation deals. The campaign targets 6 key markets: Korea, Japan, Thailand, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Vietnam. The push to revive tourism is more than promotions, as it means jobs, income, and a chance for Cebu communities to recover and thrive. Bulacan's flood control scandal leads to major shifts at the Department of Public Works and Highways. New leaders are taking charge to clean house and tackle persistent flooding. Public Works Secretary Vince Dizon announces 2 new officials for the Bulacan 1st District Engineering Office. Kenneth Fernando will serve as Officer in Charge District Engineer and Paul Gumabas as Assistant District Engineer. Retired Army General Romel Tello is named Regional Director of Central Luzon. Dizon warns the new leaders no room for corruption. He urges urgent action to address flooding in Bulacan. The office was previously linked to the scandal with former engineers Henry Alcantara, Bryce Erickson Hernandez, and JP Mendoza named in an alleged kickback scheme. The DPWH is pushing reforms to boost transparency. Restoring public trust is crucial and critical for investor confidence in infrastructure projects. The Bureau of Internal Revenue is cracking down on sin products distributors and e-cigarettes. The move is designed to ensure taxes are paid and illegal sales are stopped. BIR officials have destroyed billions worth of illicit vapes across the country, sending a strong message to distributors. Paulo Barcelon joins us with a full story on this major crackdown.
Close to 3 billion pesos worth of illicit vapes are to be destroyed by authorities by the end of the year. BIR Commissioner Charlito Martin Mendoza says these products have not been paying taxes, and an initial batch of over 480,000 vape products amounting to over 1 billion pesos have been wrecked and smeared with paint to render them unusable.
Napaiigtingin pa natin ang ating enforcement operations laban sa mga nagbebenta at distributor ng mga illicit products na ito. Hindi lamang po ng mga vapes but even other products na hindi dumaan sa tamang proseso, hindi dumaan sa tamang regulasyon at hindi nagbayad ng tamang buwis.
The activity was done in coordination with other revenue regions in the country, as they too also destroy their own illicit vape stocks. The BIR says the distributors of these vape products are not paying the intended taxes for vapes, with nicotine salt-based vapes priced at close to 60 pesos per 1 milliliter and conventional freebase or classic nicotine tax priced at over 66 pesos per 10 milliliters. Some of the illicit vapes, the agency says, are also being sold online, and that various brands have also been sold both online and in physical stores.
Kung meron po silang complicity, totoo, meron din silang criminal liability and administrative liability kung meron complicity sila at alam nila or in conspiracy sila sa mga gumagawa ng mga illegal na gawain ito.
The BIR says excise tax collections, such as those imposed on so-called sin products, such as vapes, tobacco, and alcohol, are a major source of revenue for government projects, such as infrastructure and health programs, and that distributors who evade taxes through illicit sales, as well as reduced spending due to ongoing flood control investigations, are negatively impacting collection targets.
Starting second half of the year, medyo nagkameron ng pagbaba ng collection growth natin compared to the collections last year. But we are optimistic that at least we will be able to hit around 3.1 trillion pesos for the year.
The Bureau is also eyeing stronger legal reforms and sustained anti-illicit trading operations to ensure a stronger revenue collection in 2026. Paulo Barcelon, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
We're taking a short break. Stick around. We've got more stories ahead. You're watching Business Brief. Philippine MSMEs get a boost to go green. SM Investments Corporation launches a first-of-its-kind e-learning course with a global reporting initiative to help businesses adopt sustainability reporting. Timothy Daniels, SM Investments consultant and head of investor relations at Sustainability, says the free self-paced program teaches foundational sustainability concepts, climate awareness, and practical implementation strategies. The partnership, started in 2018, aims to turn MSMEs into drivers of responsible growth. It seeks to spread sustainable business practices throughout the Philippine economy, helping companies build long-term resilience. Appoints Power Corporation is boosting the Philippines' clean energy future. The company now owns 100% of Ubay Solar Corporation, developer of a 137-megawatt solar project in Bohol, in a deal worth more than $8.5 million. The acquisition comes after Appoints Renewables Incorporated exercised a call option under a January 2025 agreement with Ignis Philippines Development Incorporated, purchasing the entire Ubay solar equity. The Greenfield Solar project is expected to reach financial close in 2026 and start commercial operations in 2027. This move not only expands Appoints Group's clean energy portfolio, but also pushes the country closer to sustainable power and a low-carbon future. Enrique Razon Jr.'s International Container Terminal Services Incorporated is making a big move in Brazil. The company invests 950 million Brazilian reais to expand the Rio Brazil terminal and port of Rio de Janeiro. The expansion will boost annual capacity by 70%, reaching 750,000 TEUs by 2029. Project costs include 414.4 million reais for infrastructure and 533.5 million reais for equipment. Upgrades cover storage yard expansion, building reconfigurations, container handling, and automation to improve efficiency. Roberto Lopez, CEO of Rio Brazil Terminal, calls it a transformative project that strengthens Brazil's logistic chain. Anders Kjelsen, ICTSI Vice President for the Americas, says it demonstrates the company's long-term commitment to Brazil. The terminal serves import, export, and industrial oil and gas hubs. With strong maritime road and rail access, the modernization is expected to boost trade and shipments across the region. Philippine tourism is geared up for a big year. Experts predict a surge in international arrivals, boosting jobs and local economies. Alfred Lay, Director for Hotels and Tourism at Lichu Property Consultants, tells BNC's Business 360 that cross-border travel is expected to rise significantly. He says recent policy changes and marketing efforts to lift travel barriers could attract more foreign visitors.
The Lichu Property Consultants target is around about 6.3 million, but if we can get somewhere in between that 6.3 and 6.7 million, I would call that quite a successful year. There are certain things that, or catalysts, which we hope will increase international arrivals next year. Of course, the government has worked to bring back e-visas for Chinese tourists who, prior to the pandemic, would contribute 1.8 to 2 million international arrivals this year, each year.
Yeah.
Whilst last year they were only able to bring in 250,000.
Lay also warns that Manila, Cebu, and Clark airports are nearing capacity. Congestion at these major hubs could hamper tourism growth. He recommends expanding access to regional airports to keep the flow of visitors strong.
On a long-term basis, we need to reduce the friction and increase our competitiveness around tourism. Friction being, you know, the Philippines is a relatively, and let's be honest about it, a relatively difficult place to get around, right? We need to focus on getting more traffic through places like Clark, Iloilo, and perhaps Davao as well.
Metro Manila enters 2026 with over 80,000 unsold homes and apartments. Experts warn it could take up to 42 months to clear the backlog. Roy Goles, Director for Research at Lichu Property Consultants, says oversupply stems from POGO-related vacancies, buyer cancellations, and weak demand, particularly in mid to upper middle income segments. He adds that while new launches slow, sales of luxury and upscale units have grown. Provincial markets are absorbing inventory faster than Metro Manila. And just in, Senate Finance Committee Chair Sherwin Gatchalian says the bicameral conference committee hearing on the proposed 2026 national budget, which was set for today, has been postponed. He says the postponement is to give way for the resolution of the contested budget of the Department of Public Works and Highways. The House has yet to confirm the matter. As of now, no new schedule has been announced. We'll bring you updates as soon as more details become available. Online shopping is booming, but so is the sale of counterfeit goods, including car parts. Authorities are cracking down, taking down illegal listings on major e-commerce platforms. Our mobility correspondent, G. Baroga, has the full story on how these crackdowns protect consumers and the economy.
With just a few clicks or taps, Filipinos can now buy almost anything online, from basic needs to big-ticket items, all for the sake of convenience and more options. According to the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines, or IPOPhil, nearly 3 out of 4 Filipinos now prefer to shop online. But this growing trend also comes with a risk. the increasing sale of counterfeit products, including auto parts. As with other sectors, the automotive industry is now working closely with government authorities to protect consumers. During the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding between IPOPhil and the Chamber of Automotive Manufacturers of the Philippines, or CAMPI, officials admitted that the agreement still lacks strong enforcement measures.
We are just starting off, and we hope this would be a deterrent, for those wanting to sell fake parts online. This is really for the protection of our consumers. So, under the MOU, we will review within the 12 months after signing the performance of this exercise.
More targeted and concrete actions against the online sale of fake auto parts are expected after a year. For now, efforts are focused on taking down counterfeit listings from major e-commerce platforms such as Lazada, Shopee, TikTok Shop, and Zalora.
Once a brand owner has experienced that its products are being counterfeited and being sold online, then these brand owners can directly contact the platforms, and they will act as fast as they can quickly to remove the article or the products online.
CAMPI says the initiative supports its road safety goals under its new vision for mobility transition. Meanwhile, industry watchers are keeping an eye on sales performance, with 2 more months of data needed to see if the sector can hit its 500,000 sales target. CAMPI earlier said it remains optimistic, expecting continued growth this year and next, driven by new vehicle models and a stronger supply chain. For BNC Mobility, G. Baroga.
We're taking another short break. Up next, a quick look at how Philippine shares closed today. That and more when Business Brief returns. Stay with us. Shares fall across Asia after China reports a drop in November investment, signaling weak demand in the world's second-largest economy. All major Asian markets are in the red. South Korea's Kospi drops nearly 2%. On currencies, the Australian dollar weakens against the US dollar. The greenback also loses ground versus most Asian currencies. On commodities, gold edges higher while oil prices trade mixed. In crypto, Bitcoin and Ethereum rise over 1% each. Philippine shares closed the first trading day of the week in the positive territory. The PSEI ended 0.3% higher to 60.58. Among sectoral indices, only services closed in the negative territory, with mining and oil rising the most at more than 2%. Advancers outpaced decliners 131 to 81, with value turnover at 6.4 billion pesos. Among the day's most active stocks, only ICTSI dropped, with the Ayala Land rising the most at almost 4%. And on currencies, the peso is currently trading at 59.13 against the US dollar, down from the previous close of 59.07. Water rates are expected to rise in the first quarter of 2026 due to a weaker peso against the US dollar. Maynilad customers may see their bills increase by over 2 pesos per cubic meter, while Manila water users could pay up to 8 pesos more per cubic meter. MWSS says the adjustments reflect service improvements, capital spending, and expanded lifeline programs for qualified Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program households. The 2026 ASEAN Summit is still months away, but drama is already unfolding among private sector leaders. Joey Concepcion announces a chairman's night at the Manila Polo Club, sparking rumors that another business leader is trying to position himself as co-chair of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council Philippines. Concepcion, founder of Go Negosyo and current chair of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council Philippines, sends a clear message that he's holding his ground. This comes as the country prepares to host dozens of ministerial and sectoral meetings leading up to the high-profile summit in November 2026. A mining company linked to Commission on Audit Commissioner Mario Lipana's family sparked serious conflict of interest allegations. The company reconnects flood control contractors to the mother of a sitting lawmaker. Documents obtained by Bilyonaryo.com show iron ore, gold, and vanadium resources Philippines Incorporated, majority owned by Lipana's wife, shares officers with contractors that won billions in public works projects. Bernadita Herrera, mother of Representative Bernadette Herrera D., is also listed as a shareholder. The Office of the Ombudsman is investigating the Lipana family. The Anti-Money Laundering Council has frozen their bank accounts and assets, including those linked to Olympus Mining. The case highlights concerns over transparency, government oversight, and the potential for high-stakes conflicts in public contracts. Senator Camille Villar pays tribute to her father, business tycoon Manny Villar, on his 76th birthday. She shares a heartfelt Instagram post celebrating his life and legacy. The post features family photos from different stages of their lives. Camille calls him the best dad, husband, friend, mentor, and lolo, saying her love goes beyond words as they celebrate another year around the sun. She also shares solo shots of Manny Villar and highlights from his recent birthday gathering with family, friends, and close associates. The post gives a glimpse of the personal side of one of the Philippines' most influential business and political figures. That's a wrap for today's Business Brief. I'm Robert Chan. Join us again tomorrow for the stories that help you plan your next big, bold business moves. Only here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.